Games from Toronto. Equestrian, one of the highest ranked athletes in the world, competing here this week on the beautiful grass here in Ottawa. Conditions are absolutely perfect. Sitting currently at 22 degrees Celsius for those who operate differently. That's about 72 Fahrenheit. A light breeze, and we are underway. Fence 1, just a rolling gallop down to fence 2 is the nice oxer, about 1.40 m wide. Just loping around to YOW, that's the airport designation for the Ottawa International Airport. Straight on, 7 strides for AB. And he's going to take a right-handed turn. You can just see from the pace he's carrying, all he's in for is a bit of a look round. Nice opening 4 strides to the Major League oxer. Time allowed in this first phase is 45 seconds. Tourism Ottawa with the Liverpool underneath. And we are up 46. So a time fault accrued for Connor. So he is ineligible to go forward and get a score. Approximately 74 starters on the original order of go for today in this preliminary class. Part of the tactic, as we're going to see from the athletes today, is they must get through phase 1 without getting eliminated in order to have a counting qualifying round for the Grand Prix later this week that we'll see on Sunday. Next in, we just saw him galloping through the screen, is Jordan Coyle. Jordan on for gold, the 12-year-old bay gelding. As we pick him up, making the turn to fence 3. 1.40 m upright. 140 high, 145 wide. The oxer coming into 4AB, 140 coming out over the vertical. Just opens up there, allows for gold to roll on down. Nice expressive jump. No real pressure on today for our riders, other than, like I said, finding the finish line. 5 time faults for Jordan, but I think he will be happy enough. Lacey Gilbertson comes on course, and Lacey had a terrific trip yesterday in the opening 2-star for USA. Lacey aboard Hollywood, a 11-year-old chestnut mare, Dutch bred, out of Nabab Derev, out of Diva. Lacey makes her home in Wellington, Florida. Started early in this sport. Well, we have our first one coming through into phase 2. So we'll get to see the rest of this track. Out over the RCMP vertical. Now a roll back around. Place where if you are looking to save time, this would be one of the areas to do it. A long looping gallop around. to the double uprights and rolling 5 stride, coming home for the last jump. 37.55 is the time for Lacey, and that is 1 rail down, 4 faults, plus the 2 on the clock. 36 seconds is the time allowed in phase 2. Just a little bit of a toe drag there, and the rail comes down. Well, we'll stay in the southern state of Florida, but just head up the road a little bit to Ocala and the Live Oak Stud, the home base of Chloe D. Reed. Chloe riding Crossover 4, a 10-year-old Hanoverian gelding. Spent quite a bit of time this summer just across the road at the World Equestrian Center in Ocala. Had some very good success. Crossover a little bit quirky at times, but boy, when he gets in the ring, he really can jump.
Then if it does fall.
Chloe getting very comfortable at the 5-star level. Those that are a little new to the sport, 5-star is the highest level of jumping outside of the major games that we have in the sport of show jumping.
I was told you're
Nice trip so far. Going to be a little bit tight on time. Oh, she just gets in there, but I think just not sure. Maybe even just thinking she was going to get a ring of the bell. So circles round. Mature move there from Chloe, and opting then, knowing that there isn't a win on the cards, jump the jump nicely, give Crossover a nice feel for the day, and set up nicely for the rest of the week. And with that, we move on to Canada's Erin Ballard, a real fan favorite. Frankly, wherever she goes, but certainly out here in Ontario. She's riding for the Alain Ferda stables. Nanini is her option to go right now. Nanini, a 10-year-old Belgian-bred mare by Canaan. You ever catch up with Erin and she's not on the back of a horse, she is thinking about being on the back of a horse. Totally composed, always in balance. Carrying a nice little bit of rhythm through here. She is heading into phase 2, and wave her hand, finishes the line, and we'll call it a day for Nanini. Expect to see a lot of that in this competition. For a lot of the riders, it is just a feel around, get the horses comfortable with the course. Michelle has laid out a very welcoming track, allowing the riders to go find their gallop. Big difference from riding on grass to the usual sport footing that they are so accustomed to these days. Moving along now to Natalie Dean from the United States. Natalie riding Nespresso. Vantelekov, 10-year-old Belgian-bred gelding. Trained by Alain Ferda. See how her head and eyes always looking to where she's going, and allowing the horse to come around, find the line. There's a lot of distractions here at Wesley Clover Parks. There's a whole other national event going on at the same time. Lots for the horses to see and get distracted at, so nice opportunity to come in. And Natalie Dean, another that by rights can go through and opts to take the first jump, fence number 8 on course, first jump in phase 2, but no further. Israel comes in now for the first time, represented by Ashley Bond and her fantastic Donatello. Donatello, 12-year-old Westphalian gelding by Diarado out of Luna. A real go-to for Ashley and Team Israel, part of their team that cemented Olympic qualification for Paris for Team Israel. As a rider, it's great to have a nice string of horses that you can go to time after time. But boy, when you have one that you really can rely on, like Donatello is for Ashley, it makes all the difference in the world. Puts you at a different level of comfort. Knows what to expect. She knows what she has to do, and really how to set him up for a solid performance through the week. We'll really look to see them when it really matters come the weekend. Team jumping on Saturday here in Ottawa for the 4th leg of the team event and the Grand Prix on Sunday. Alessandra Volpi is up now. Alessandra from the United States. And she is aboard Foster 39. Foster, a 15-year-old Hanoverian gelding. Sandra calls Woodside, California home. She is on through into phase 2. So far, so good. Staying balanced. Not pushing the time, but just looking to keep all the jumps intact. Frankly, I like the idea of going, and if you can at least, get the option to go all the way through. It's a good exercise, and with that, clear 32.84, and she will be headed to the top of the leaderboard in the very early stages of this $5,000 Premier Equestrian opener for the 5-star riders. Grant Seeger up next. Grant has opted to go with the 11-year-old Frida. Frida by Balou du Roy. Frida thoroughly enjoying herself on the way down there, but unfortunately getting Grant in a little bit of trouble. Very loose, exuberant jump, but just, again, a little bit unfocused. This will be a very good training round for this pair. Tone sounds for American legend McLean Ward from Brewster, New York. McLean riding First Lady, and great to see McLean back in the ring. Had a nasty fall not so long ago. Mentality of a hockey player, McLean Ward. Patched himself up, and away we go. First Lady 10-year-old mare by Don Diorado. Frankly, too many accolades to list for McLean. Doesn't seem to matter what horse he rides, the position never changes. And yet he is so adaptable. Well, time fault, 45.14 for McLean. Hair over the 45 seconds. But that really did look like the perfect table layer for the American veteran. Mimi Gotchman on now. Mimi had a great round last week at Angelstone. Previous stop here. Looking for great things this week too. He's riding Selena, 13-year-old bay mare. Amy calls New York City, New York home. Tennis, reading, and skiing are her pastimes when she's not playing her trade in the international show jumping arena. On to phase two for Mimi and Selena. Nice floating around. It's keeping an even rhythm and tempo. Really uses a shoulder well up over these jumps. Nicely ridden, 33.11 for Mimi and Selena. And they will slot into second place currently. We bring on course now from Great Britain. Amanda Derbyshire. Derbyshire, I suppose, for our American listeners, but I'm going to go with Derbyshire. Right on the corner where I was born and raised. So Otto BH is who Amanda is riding today. 11-year-old Zangoside stallion. Amanda been living in the United States for a good little while now. Originally from Lancashire, up in the northwest of England. And just a tick over, well, a few ticks over the clock to be frank. 6 time faults for Amanda and Otto. Canada's Lexi Ray comes on course. Lexi riding Evita. A 14-year-old Dutch bred mare by Tangelo. Real firecracker of a mare. Stays nice and square. Doesn't waste any time over the jumps. Well, another one getting caught by the fence number 8 front rail. First jump in the second phase. Welcome in now from Ireland, David O'Brien, and David is riding El Baloo. El Baloo Old. The winner just recently at the 2-star level in Traverse City, Michigan. Gives a rider a whole ton of confidence when you can get yourself at the top of the podium. Enough of a boost in confidence for David to say, okay, we're ready to move from the 2-star level up to the 5-star. Give it a shot. Well, one time fault, 45.23. 45 seconds, just a reminder. Time fault's coming at 1 fault. for every second, commenced second, over the time allowed. We head back to United States and Kyle King. Kyle, who has really made a comeback, you have to say, in the top end of the sport here with the advent of the Major League. A little bit loose there at fence number 2. I won't bother him too much with Seralino, his 10-year-old gelding. Fourth in the recent 3-star in Vancouver out at Thunderbird Show Park with Odysseus. Seralino was 9th in the 2-star Grand Prix at Traverse City. Carl, one rail down, 4 faults. Heading back to Ireland now, and championship team veteran Shane Sweetnam. Really has become Mr. Reliable for Michael Blake and his Irish team. Always there or thereabouts when the squad gets picked. Jocks Z, the chestnut 9-year-old gelding, Belgian bred. Well, once again, rider falls victim to fence number 8. For me, I think just maybe just a little bit unsure as to whether they're going to get a buzzer or not. It takes the focus just that little bit away. Finished off nicely. 4 faults, 35-38 for Shane and Jocks. 4th as we sit here currently. Audrey Schultz makes away. Audrey aboard Darkito. 12-year-old Hanoverian gelding. Regular partner for her. Team placed 6th at the Traverse City leg. Team KPF. Keeping a good gallop going around here into phase 2 without going crazy. Keeps them up, should be there or thereabouts. Nicely through that final line, and yes, indeed, 30.85. Well, unfortunately, the rail coming down at fence 8. Quickest of the 4s into 3rd place. 18th of about 78 we expect to see here. So a bit to go as we welcome in Ashley Vogel. Ashley riding Ceres van Het Mooshoff, 11-year-old Self-Francais mare. Top 10 finish at the Traverse City leg on the Table A. So quick enough is Ceres when he really gets going. Nicely through phase 1, chunking it out, jump by jump. A little rebalancing there just to get Ceres back listening. Very patient ride. Nice 6 strides coming home, or 5 strides coming home there, and 2 time faults, 37.35. 36 seconds is the time allowed into phase 2. And with those 2 time faults, she will take over the 3rd and final podium spot. Aaron's Derek Kenny makes his way to the start line aboard Hamra van Het Exelhafzee, the 9-year-old Zangenside stallion. Third on this horse at Traverse City, Major League Grand Prix. Dara, no stranger himself to the top level of the sport. Just a couple of years ago, leading rider in the FEI Nations Cup final. But 3 time faults, and that will preclude him moving on. Bring on Andrew Wells now from the United States. Andrew riding Idol, H&H, 10-year-old Dutch-bred gelding. Originally from Long Lake, Minnesota. As so many do these days, relocated down, spaced down to Wellington, Florida. Well, nicely through, just underneath that 45 seconds. But a wave of the hand and Andrew will call it today. He's felt enough. Back to Connor Swale, our lead-off rider. Back in now with his second horse, Vital Chance de la Roque, 14-year-old Self-Francais gelding by Diamant de Semy. Incredible when you think about it. Connor Swale first took part at the Dublin Horse Show at the age of 6. Won't get into how old he was or how old he is now, but that was a minute ago. Currently ranked 10th in the world for Ireland, Connor Swale. Drew nicely into phase 2. Taking his time, keeping the balance. See Vital Chance having a kick out. Thoroughly enjoying the trip around the grass. Kind of very much allowing the exuberance to happen. But then saying, okay, now's the time to focus. Beautifully done. 6 time faults, but I think that is very much what Connor was hoping for from Vital Chance. Aaron Ballard back in now. The Tottenham, Ontario native. Just on the outside of the top 50 in the world is Aaron. This is definitely a move up in class for Coconet, 9-year-old grey mare by Coleman. Really came along leaps and bounds during the summer tour at the World Equestrian Centre in Ocala. Give Aaron and coach Alain Furter the confidence to say, okay, you're ready to go. .44.66, right on the button there for their running time. Really just holds a frame so well as Aaron keeps the gallop, allows the horse to find its way back off the jump. No unnecessary movements. And with a time of 33.78, they will slide into third place. All the rails in the cups. Great jump out over B. They're going to be very happy with that. From Canada, we head to Egypt and Nayal Nassar. Nayal right on the number 50 in the current Longines World Rankings. Riding Dorado de Riverland. 10-year-old Self-Francais gelding. Quite the stable of horses Nayal has. The Evergate stables. Loping around course, allowing Dorado to find his way. Really folds up and around. Beautifully ridden. 34.04. Clear into fourth place. We bring on a rider now who is really making hay on the Major League Tour, Sean Jobin. Sean riding his great grey Coquelicot. Had some absolutely incredible results recent times. Was the big winner at Tryon in the 3-star Grand Prix. Also the 3-star Grand Prix at the World Equestrian Center in Ocala. Through into phase 2, but Sean also tipping his hat. But that is a combination I expect that we'll see there or thereabouts as the week goes on. Staying with the home nation, Susan Horn comes in now. From Bolton, Ontario, just a few hours east of here. Kilo Van den Bosrand is Susan's horse, 13-year-old grey Belgian bred gelding. I've been watching Susan ride for a long time. I'm not sure if I've ever seen her ride a different colour horse other than grey. I don't know if she does it purposefully, but I'll have to ask her that one time. Nicely balanced through there over the Welsh Dragons. 4 strides up to the Major League Oxer. And comfortably under the 45 seconds. Susan also opting to call it a day. Natalie Dean back on course now. Natalie aboard Chadora Lady. 10-year-old bay mare out of the great Chaco Blue. Really not liking how it was setting up, so all about getting comfortable in the ring today. Fedora a little bit feisty. So 4 jumping faults for the, we'll call it a reset. Plenty of time faults. Move along now to Charlotte Jacobs. Charlotte is riding Android 3K. 12-year-old grey stallion by VDL Zirocco Blue. Another mare, Kaviana 3K. the alumni of the University of Miami. Hurricane. Reuter really using his body over these jumps, but staying nice and relaxed. Oh, he just stayed a little bit through the shoulder there, coming through the corner. Never really got around her inside leg. And unfortunately, fence 7 comes down, and that will prevent Charlotte from moving on into phase 2. Staying with the Stars and Stripes, Cali Shot. Cali aboard Garant, 12-year-old Dutch-bred gelding. A ride of Beezy Madden, presenting the Crusaders team. This week. That would be a tough act to follow, but you also know that the horse has been set up very well. Through into phase 2, and carrying on. Well, up, out, and over the last for Cali Shot and Garant. All the rails up, 34.69 into 5th place. Simon McCarthy now for Ireland. And Simon aboard Athletics Hero Z. 11-year-old Zangasider gelding. Had a 8th place finish at the 3-star in Traverse City, the Grand Prix, Michigan. Aboard Athletics. Also won a nice 2-phase competition in Tryon earlier this year. Definitely a step up in class for this combination this week. Come out, take your time, find the rhythm. Just wants to drift right a little bit, Athletics, and you see Simon picking him up, trying to keep him around. Did that very nicely. very high hand carriage, but that looks like it's very much on purpose, just to try and keep his shoulder up. Like he wants to drop a little bit, so Simon's having none of it. In the leg tight. And just nicely flows, sits with 34.55 and clear for Simon McCarthy and Athletics Hero Z. Spent too long in the United States. Athletics Hero Z, we'll say up here. Adrian Sternlicht on course now, representing the United States. From Greenwich, Connecticut. And we'll see Greenwich a little bit later on the Major League Tour. A couple of stops to go before we get to the polo fields. Team gold medalist at the 2018 World Equestrian Games in Tryon aboard the Great Crystalline. Plenty of time faults, but all the rails up for Adrian and Fakitol, 13-year-old gelding. Grant Seeger back on now, and he is aboard Cantuccini, 12-year-old gelding by Clooney. A little bit of a rebalance there. Cantuccini just looking to get on the inside, and Grant said, no, come around. Listen. Take care of those details in the early stages of a week while you can. Well, you're really not too worried right now about the result. 46.52. 2 time faults in phase 1 for Grant and Cantuccini. Another rider coming back in for their second trip. This is Chloe Reed. Chloe this time aboard Lewis P. Another rider who started at an incredibly early age, right at the age of 4. Coached by German veteran Markus Bierbaum. It's a little bit quick there off the ground for Chloe and Louis P. Fence number 2, moving costly. All information is being gathered by the riders for this really what amounts to a training competition. We bring in now Tiffany Foster from Canada. Has really carved a solid career for herself. The sport of show jumping, and very much a go-to rider for Canadian coach Ian Miller. She's up to go aboard Northern Light. Northern Light, a 12-year-old Swedish-bred mare by Plot Blue. Out of the mare, C'est Marcherie. Incredible string of horses he has put together. Very confident what she needs to do, how she goes about executing her plan. A little soften with the hand, a squeeze the leg, and up come the horse's legs. Sound of the tone denotes not going through to phase 2, but obviously never in the plans from the pace she was carrying around. We move back to Ireland and David O'Brien. David this time riding Faro. 13-year-old gelding, Dutch bred by Calvaro FC out of the mare Björtin. Staying around the leg, coming through to YOW, Yankee Oscar Whiskey, for those of the phonetic alphabet. Nicely through, he's on to phase 2. Up and out over fence 8. Galloping along. He's getting a good rhythm going here. Not blazing quick, but keeping the pace up. Comes round to the final line. Having to go a little bit for the last oxer. 31.20, and that becomes the new target. David O'Brien from Ireland. Faro to the top of the leaderboard. We move along now to Great Britain and Jessica Mendoza. Jess riding ICAP CLZ. Part of the Eye Candy team at Traverse City. To ride a little bit there for the Major League Oxer. Got a little on the inside leg. And just really stayed over his front end at the Liverpool. Down it comes. Often in the sport of show jumping, you get a fault at a fence, but it really it was a problem created earlier in the course. We move now back to Kyle King. Kyle King coming in for his second trip. Kyle will be riding Sig Chiari, 11-year-old bay gelding by Cristallo 2 out of the mare La Belle. A nice shot of the beautiful grounds here at Wesley Clover Parks. Just see in the background plenty of stuff going on. National Horse Show all at the same time, different rings. But plenty of space here for the horses and riders. Got a good breeze going, you see the flags blowing. A bit cooler today, but I have to think it's just ideal for horses and riders. And well, in fact, Kyle opting not to go with Sig. So we move on now to Lacey Gilbertson. Lacey riding Carlin van te Vennehoef. Carlin is a 13-year-old Belgian-bred mare by the stallion Fantomas de Muse. David O'Brien from Ireland, the current leader, clear. 31:20 was his time in phase 2. Fence 1 comes down for Lacey. Just a little tight behind coming off the ground. Sometimes when horses get a little bit quick, they don't quite finish the arc. Got herself reorganized now. Oh, now we bring in Kyle King, Sig Chiari. 11-year-old by Cristallo 2 out of La Belle. Great to see Kyle back at the top end of the sport at the 5-star level. Had some great results over the years. One of the few competitors this week that's been riding long enough to have competed against myself. so accomplished, sits so still over his horses, but always on the gallop. Always riding forward. Very comfortably in the time allowed. Oh, the maple leaf comes down, front rail. Just went through it a little bit. But hopefully that is something that Sig will remember. Yeah, much better there in front. And yes, through the last jump. No problems with the front rail there. He had his, he had the time in mind, 30.48, but the rail coming down. He had the time comfortably. That will put him at this stage in 9th position. We go out now to the prairies of Alberta in Western Canada and Vanessa Mannix. Called Calgary, Alberta home. Vanessa is riding a Laha, 12-year-old Belgian-bred gelding by Verdi. Trained for a long time with Irish veteran Conor Swale. Taking a time through the turns. Onto phase 2 and down comes fence number 8 again. Just got a little unbalanced down that line from 7 to 8. There is a soft bend in it. Guys just seem to lose the balance a little bit as Laha got a little off the bridle. We move along now to American team veteran and current 8th ranked rider in the world, Kent Farrington. Kent riding the chestnut gelding Landon, 10-year-old Zangasider by Milfo UZ. Kent 4th on this horse, Landon, at Traverse City in the Grand Prix. And the winner just last week with a new mount, lovely mare, at the Angelstone Grand Prix. Hard to think of a faster rider in the world when this man is on form. .45.39, just a tick on the clock for Kent and Landon. Combination really starting to find their way. We are right at the halfway stage now of this meter 40 opener for the 5-star horses and riders. We tick over now to sequence 40. This is Ireland's Dara Kenny back on course. Dara is riding Owen. Owen, 10-year-old Dutch-bred stallion by Canaan. A little bit of time taken there, rebalance. Very exuberant lead change there from Irwin. And time faults also for Dara, 47.93. We've seen 40, so as we go into a brief tractor break for the warm-up ring. No need for a drag break, of course, for the grass, but as we do a little bit of a reset for the riders coming into phase 2. And with this, we're going to throw down to the
Thank you very much. Yes, halfway through this opening class of the 5-star week here at Oshawa. And a good start for David O'Brien into the class here. But it's all about getting ready for a big week of competition that we look forward to. As you've already seen halfway through here, a fantastic list of riders and horses competing as part of this Major League Jumping show. And we'll take you through this week from tomorrow's big qualifier of 140,000 in that class, qualifying towards the Grand Prix. What's unique here as well is the classes on Saturday will lead towards the qualifying positions for the Grand Prix too as well. That'll include the individual class and of course Saturday's big highlight, the Major League team stop. And with terrific starts to season 2 for the home team, the Northern Lights, stacked there with Canadian riders. They could well feature here after 2 podium finishes in the last 2 stages in Traverse City and Angelstone as well. And then Sunday's highlight completes with the lunchtime run, 1 o'clock kickoff for that, the class for the Grand Prix as well. For that RBC class, looking forward to that. Last year won by Ken Farrington, who comes in on a hot streak here as well, having won the Grand Prix as well at Angelstone last week. But team going to be on Saturday, Trawley Trailblazers, blazing a trail, easy one to run to for that, with 2 wins behind them already, but plenty on their heels as well. But this is where the starting point comes in this class, out of this beautifully prepared grass arena. The team here producing a fantastic setting once again here at Wesley Clover Parks for this event here in Oshawa. Getting excited for what's coming up during the week, and already nice starts for a group of them here, and our second half coming up very, very shortly.
We are back underway. Good to have everyone who's here back joining me. John Garner here, keeping you company on this, what is now a breezy afternoon here in the Ottawa Valley. Alessandro Volpi kicks us off with this second group of riders. Gracieux du Pachi. Alessandro's 11-year-old gelding by the great stallion Tinker's Boy. This is back underway. Course designed, as all courses this week, by Michel Vaillancourt. Championship course designer from the Pan American Games from Toronto. Galloping through there, through the turn to the Welsh Dragons. Monsieur just looks like he gets a little bit strong, got a little flat there, just coming through the turn. Seen that happen a few times with different horses where they drop through the corner, and especially if they want to lean a little bit right. The arc gets a little bit low. They just get along a little bit inside track. So important to try and keep your horse square through the corners. Namaste Van Het Eikelveld, a 10-year-old Belgian-bred gelding, the ride of Ashley Vogel. Ashley back in for her second ride. That's a lovely jump. Namaste, a little short and thick through the neck. Carries his head quite high, but really does spring up. No problems with the time or the jumps in phase 2, but once again, fence number 8 coming down. So 4 faults at this stage in phase 2. With that, you can see Ashley now just really gearing down. Get Namaste back focused. Swings a little bit through the turn. Four jumping faults, 4 time faults, 39.61 is their running time in phase 2. Just a little low with a toe there. Caught it on the way up. Sweetenham makes his way round to fence number 3. This time aboard RR Bella. 9-year-old mare. Stable rider for Spike Coast Farms for a number of years, Shane, and done a wonderful job. So consistent. On to phase 2. Oh, and the last one comes down. A bit of a trail of the back legs. And 4 faults for Shane and RR Kumbella. Gakia is in now, 12-year-old chestnut gelding by the stallion Spartacus. This is the ride of Canada's Erin Ballard. Such a great performance last week under the lights at Angel Stone with Gakia. Always feeling the horse out, feeling what they're doing, what they're giving you. She's on to fence 2 so far. She's keeping on going. Getting some sedate miles in for Gakia. A tactical decision here. She's skipped the RCMP upright, rolled straight into the combination, which obviously will denote elimination, of course. But a tactical setup for what she's anticipating seeing or feeling later on this week. Lily Keenan comes in now. Lily aboard Argan de Belliard, 13-year-old gelding. Saint Francais breeding by My Lord Cartago. Great to see Lily here in Ottawa. Things have cooled off considerably in the last 30 minutes or so. Wind has picked up, cloud cover has rolled in, expecting some showers later on. Nicely balanced down that 4-stride line. It sweeps through the turn. Just a little setup again to get nice and square. And Time faults it will be for Lily and Argan. Back to Ireland we go for our next combination. Aboard the 11-year-old gelding Centrico Volo. Jordan Coyle back in. His compatriot David O'Brien still leading aboard Faro. 31:20 was his time in phase 2 and clear. USA take the other 2 podium spots as we start to wind our way towards the back end of this meter 40 opener class. Alessandra Volpi in second, Mimi Gotchman in third. Jordan Coyle guiding Centrico Volo down the line through the combination. Swings past the in-gate now. Oh, a little rub there at the Welsh Dragon upright, but it stays up. Another rider falls victim. Fence 8. First fence on the speed portion. He carried a very nice round time through phase 1. Four faults, 31:88 for Jordan and Centrico Volo. We head now to Brazil and Olympic veteran Santiago Lumbre. Santiago been a regular at the World Equestrian Center in Ocala and been highly successful, and especially with the stallion Chaco Blue 2. Exuberant jumper with an absolute massive stride. And you just see him fighting there a little bit to squeeze the steps in. Blind in the left eye is Chaco Blue 2, but really doesn't bother him. Really can't build them big enough for this horse when he's on form and on song. Just finding his way around. Tone sounds, and I expect that will be just what Santiago needed. A good wake-up call for the big fella. Back to Canada and Aurora, Ontario's Nicole Walker. Nikki riding Atu des Trombles. 13-year-old Self-Francais gelding by Nectar des Forêts out of the mare Jaspe de Lagrange. The great Jerry Mullins on the ground to help Nikki this week. Won't get much better than that. Really composed rider. never lacks confidence. Well, clear and through into phase one, but through phase one into phase two. But opting to retire. Sean Jobin back in for his third trip, and this time he is aboard his great veteran Darius. He is a quirky little fella, but when he is on form, he is tough to beat. Seems with Darius, as long as he's got a jump in front of him, he's fine. It's when he has time to think and watch whatever else is out there, he can lose his focus once in a while. Wouldn't be the easiest horse in the world to ride, but Sean really knows him inside and out. A tiny little thing, but boy, can he jump. Really giving him a nice get around. Goes through the motions. 2-2 in the second phase. I think just feeling maybe he was starting to get a little too excited, so he really goes the roundabout way. We come down to this final line. Yeah, he got over his front end a little bit at B, but no problems. Leaves the fences up 40-35 for Sean and Darius. 5 time faults. That will cost them. Well, yesterday we saw a great Canadian veteran celebrating his 71st birthday, Mac Cohn. We move now to one of the greatest American riders of all time, Margie Goldstein Engel. Incredibly still performing at such a high level. With a great horse, Royce, 19 years old now. Bay Stallion. He's been such a great one for her. And she really hasn't changed at all. All the experience in the world. Royce just getting a little bit strong there. And Margie saying, no, you're going to come and listen. You'll have a slightly different approach, I'm sure, as the week goes on. But this is exactly what this class is for. Iron out the kinks. The jumps are never a problem for Royce. One of Margie Engel's former teammates, Alison Robitaille, on course now. Alison riding Esther Dulogre, 9-year-old Celle Francais. Allison taking a bit of time away from the sport, and it's great to see her back. Super ride last week in Rockwood, Ontario, at the Angel Stone Events competition. Sets up nicely for the combination coming out of the Yankee Oscar Whiskey upright. Went to tug and pull a little bit around the corner. Esther getting a little feisty. He has always been a fighter, as Allison. And not afraid to find the gas pedal, which would be a good asset if you're riding for Team KPF, I would imagine. Probably part of the interview process. Just getting a little bit strong towards the end of the course is Esther. But 29.39, my goodness me. Into the lead by almost 2 seconds. I actually think that might take a little bit of catching as we go through this competition. It's a good confidence builder. He's puffing and puffing as she comes out. I have to hit the gym there a little bit, Ali. From Alison Robitaille, we move to Ali Ramsey. Ali aboard Bonita. Then het Kaiserhof Z, 12-year-old Zangerside mare. This Meter 40 opener presented by Premier Equestrian. Great thanks to all the sponsors this week. Ali finding her way back from injury. Saying yesterday she feels she's about 90%. Not sure the last time I felt 90%, I have to say. Oh, and down comes the MLSJ Oxa. A little forward down that four stride. Didn't really back up, but again, that's a lesson to think of. Bonita will hopefully think about that the next time Ali asks her to gallop on down to an Oxa. Caroline Mawini comes on course now, and she is aboard Baccarat Dodge on Fuss. 16-year-old mare, Swedish bred, by Askazi out of Queen Dodge on Fuss. Right around 2/3 of the way through this Meter 40 opener, with a 5-star week here at Wesley Clover Parks, Major League Show Jumping, Ottawa. Caroline nice and smoothly through the first 3 jumps. Good through the combination. Really liked how she stayed straight for a long way. Just take a moment to balance, reorganize, no rush. Set up nicely for the 4-stride line. And again, balance through the turn. Little through the inside shoulder, but no harm, no foul. So Caroline Mawini, clear through the phase 1, but ups to withdraw. Vanessa Hood on course from the United States. Vins van der Tupjeva-Zie, 10-year-old gelding. Vanessa, another rider, took a somewhat of a hiatus from the sport, but is back at it. Great to see her back in the 5-star tour. We're a little sticky there at the Liverpool, but squeezed it in. Staying cool and calm as she moves on now to phase 2, but down comes the maple leaf front rail. And with that, Vanessa calls it a day. Bins look like just getting a little bit strong to the Liverpool. Vanessa kept her cool. Charlotte Jacobs back in. This time she's aboard Rinkula Milshorn, 10-year-old Irish gelding. Tone Sounds 45-second countdown is underway. Lovely athletic type. See how quick he gets his front legs up. Charlotte opting for a school around. a retirement from Phase 1. Something we see too often in these classes. Grant Seeger is back in. This time Grant is riding Yogi FLP. 13-year-old Hanoverian gelding by FRH Quaid out of Stella. Steadily along here through the first 3 jumps. Down the first combination. And Grant goes left. Schooling tour, and that's enough for Grant. Well, interesting approach, because that means that, and I'm sure they have every intention of doing, but they must now complete another class later in the week. First round of another class in order to have their Grand Prix qualification cemented. Alexis Sokolov comes on course now. Alexis is riding Fasol du Seigneur. Alexis had some admirable performances during the Nations Cup week out in San Juan Capistrano earlier this year, May. Great week of jumping that was. Feisty mare is Fasol. Clear and over fence 8. And down comes the maple leaf upright. Seen that happen a few times as the riders make their way into phase 2. One of these horses that I think is naturally quick. You have to be a little mindful. You don't over correct and get the trying to go too slow. Good time. 30.42, but a rail down, and that will put them all the way down into 10th currently. Mimi Gotchman back in now. Mimi aboard Halita BH. Currently sits in 4th on Selena. into the final line and clear inside the time. Rolling on into phase 2. Out and over the maple leaf. Keeping a nice loping stride. Staying in rhythm. Carrying a very nice pace through the turn. 5 strides to come home. Up and over. And a time of 33.59 for Mimi and Halita. And she just slots in behind herself. Aboard Selena BH. So Mimi takes the 4th and 5th spots, puts Erin Ballard down into 6th. Niall Nessa 7th, Simon McCarthy 8th. Ali Schott on Garant in 9th, and Ashley Vogel in 10th. Dara Kerins on course now from Ireland. Dara is riding Licino. Dara here representing Spy Coast Spies. The team competition. Real family affair with the Kerins group. Young lad Daniel making a name for himself as well, but Dara, 43.22, he does, he makes the time, leaves the fences up, but opts out for phase 2. Staying with Ireland, Paul O'Shea comes on. Paul riding Spy. Nicely down the line through the combination. Squares up. Eye showing lots of loft. I have to say, I kind of like Paul's approach. He's riding very much like he would on any other course. I think there's something to be said for that. You get in the rhythm. Don't change too much. Some of these riders are really going to have to change their battle plan. Well, Paul leaving in no doubt his plan. Dropped inside there into this final line. He's not going to quite be quick enough to take over from Allison, but into second place, 29.97. Lovely technique out over the Liverpool. Oh, and again, very stylish jump out over the last. Sticking with the Irish, Dara Kinney back in. Daria riding California Pie. 11-year-old Westphalian gelding by Captain Cooper out of the mare Arisa. Down through the finish line of phase 1 and on to phase 2. Kenny continuing on. Well, a nice trip for Dara and California Pie. 2-time faults, 37-17. Nicely done down through that final line. Natalie Dean back on course now, and this time she is riding her Aachen Nations Cup horse, Akota M. What a week that was for Natalie. A horse that really does stay on the gallop. Takes a little bit of handling. But all the quality at the gym. Over the maple leaf as she goes into phase 2. Nicely set up. Really steady through here. Had to swing a little bit through the corner. She sort of got a little on the inside track, I think, closer than she'd like to have done. But job done nonetheless. It just goes to show you, I mean, she was quick enough, 33-39 into 6th, without really thinking about it. We move to Colombia now, and Roberto Terran Tafur. He is riding DSP Callas, 11-year-old mare by Caskenny out of the mare Luciana. Tone sounds for Colombian veteran Roberto Terran Tafur. A little reorganization there for Callis. That's better. Just took a little bit of time coming out of the first combination just to get square. Horse really does like to get onto that left side. 3 time faults in phase 1 for Roberto. We'll head back to Egypt, this time aboard Jiminy Cricket. Jiminy is a 12-year-old gelding by stallion Colestus out of Sindhi, the ride of Egypt's Nile Nasser. Niall, the 50th ranked rider in the world. Taking his time to settle through here. Nicely out over the MLSJ Oxer. And 8 comes down. We haven't seen it come down for a while, but it has been a problem jump. That first fence into phase 2. Now continuing on. So 4 faults, 35.54 for Niall and Jiminy Cricket. We'll bring back in Ireland's Jordan Coyle now, as the tone is sounded for the grey Ariso, 12 years old, Swedish-bred gelding by Casal, out of the mare Osira. Big rangy type Ariso. Really uses the shoulder well. Looks like he wants to get a little stiff through the corners. And down comes 8. One more time. You know, I think also part of the challenge is because it's got that soft bend in it, you can get a little bit on the inside track without really thinking about it. When you leave fence 7, you think you're on line, then all of a sudden you're right on the inside track. You don't have to miss the optimum takeoff spot by much in this sport, certainly at this level, for it to cause an issue. 4 faults, 33.66 the time for Jordan and Ariso. Just couldn't quite dig himself out from that front rail. Santiago Lambre is back in now, the Brazilian veteran on Zeus. 13-year-old grey stallion by Cartugran. It's a relatively new mount for Santiago, but shows a ton of promise. One of those riders that has won all over the world. Right. 50.79 is their time. 6 time faults for Santiago and Zeus. Back on course, this time with Cedric 84 McLean Ward. McLean, a representative of Team Roadrunner this week, here in leg number 4 of the Major League Show Jumping Tour. As mentioned a little earlier, McLean himself coming back from a injury. Nasty crash earlier this year. Alison Robitaille still leading the way. McLean Ward sets off. Makes his way to the first fence. Cedric, the 11-year-old gelding. The stallion Christian, 25, out of Femme Fatale. Might be one of the most precise riders I've ever had the pleasure of watching, McLean. .48 seconds is round time. 3 seconds over the 45, the time allowed in the first round. And that will bring us down to 10 to see. First of those 10 is in for the second round, Margie Goldstein Engel, this time aboard Dicas. Now, there are some riders who really don't have a pattern of the type of horse they ride. McLean Ward is an example. That cannot be said for Margie Goldstein Engel. Everything is big. Dicas, 14-year-old gelding. Rhinelander by Diarado. Top 3 as we sit at this stage. Alison Robitaille on Esther Dumogle is in the lead. And then a 2-3 for Ireland. Paul O'Shea and David O'Brien. Through the combination for Margie. She gets Dicas organized through the turn. It's an interesting turn, actually, back to the Welsh Dragon. You have to ride quite a ways to actually get back to it. 47.89 is the reference time for Margie. 3 time faults. We move straight along now to Caroline Mawhinney, back in, this time aboard Dance du Bisson. Dance is a 12-year-old Zangzide, yeah? Dutch capital Z, out of Fantasy du Buisson. Lovely expression on this horse's face. Comes through the turn and locks on the jump. A little strong through the turn, but Caroline sets up nicely. Oh, and down it comes, fence 7. Knew she was on time faults anyway, so she was already taking, I think, evasive action. Really have just stayed cantering straight there. But back legs bring down that upright. Back to championship medalist for the United States, Adrian Sternlicht. Adrian aboard Auriga Van Het Zuid-Patjoortenland. Easy for me to say. 9-year-old gelding, Belgian bred by Thunder van de Zuidheuvel, out of Quinta van de Zuid-Patjoortenland. This is definitely some good hang time over fence 2. Very comfortable. Well, nicely done through the fences, but plenty of time faults for Adrian. 53.67 will actually be 9. We bring back in Vanessa Hood from the United States. Vanessa this time is riding Casca Loreto. 11-year-old Holstein gelding by Casal. Oxa start for Michel Vaillancourt's course. I did dig in there a little bit, out over B. Got a little strong and deep to A. And time faults. The bell rings. Oh my goodness me. 4/100ths of a second over the time allowed for Vanessa and Casclaretto. Ali Ramsey comes back in from Canada. And this time she is aboard the 10-year-old Zangezeit gelding Conrado 12. First two jumps certainly showing some flair for Conrado. Just settling in a little now. Nicely through the combination. Step up a little bit for the MLSJ Oxa. Comfortably into phase two, but a wave of the hand. And for Ali, she's seen enough, felt enough, with 5 left to go. Alison Robitaille is still on top, 29.39 her time. Paul O'Shea in second, 29.97. And David O'Brien in third, also from Ireland, 31.20. We move on now to Nicole Hounert and Calakas d'Aubigny. Whoa, a little deeper than I think she'd planned there, but Calakas really getting up in the air. Needs to settle, find a rhythm. That's better. Got a nice gap there coming into the combination. Swung a little bit through the turn there and had to fling herself up again at the Liverpool. 12/100ths. Just too much for Nicole there. 45.12 their time. So unfortunately for this combination, we'll not see them into phase two. Back to Ireland we go. And Richie Maloney. Richie on Roxy Music. 15-year-old Irish-bred gelding by the stallion Oz Vivendi. Out of the mare Crafty Kate. Alison Robitaille looking pretty good right now. takes his time through the turn. Ottawa Airport jump. Very still and square through the combination for AB. Time faults aplenty for Richie and Roxy Music, 5 in total. Well, with 2 left to see, the final combination we're going to see on course is current leader Alison Robitaille. So, it's up to Ashley Bond. Ashley Bond on Garfield, representing Israel. What will Ashley try to do here? Well, lots of pop there over fence 1 for Ashley and Garfield. I would say they're carrying what I would consider to be a more normal pace. A little smile on her face. I think she's really enjoying the feel she's getting from 12-year-old gelding right now. I would say so. Well, she's not going to have a problem with time. Oh, but down the rail comes at fence 8. It's caught another victim. Hard to say what Ashley would have done had that one stayed up, but it's down. Scooted past the Canada Roxa, and so off course. Really immaterial at this stage. But one thing we know for sure is the win will go to the United States and Alison Robitaille, as here to wrap up this meter 40 opener is current leader Alison, this time riding Oakingham Lyra. It's quite the feeling, I have to tell you, when you walk into a arena, and before you've gone, you know you've already won. Didn't do it a lot, but a couple of times. Takes some competitive pressure off and really does allow you to focus very much on the job at hand with the horse you've got right now. .39.11 is the time through phase 1, and Alison is about it. It keeps going. And she is continuing to keep pace. Looking for a possible 1-2 here. Got in tight. Sitting back, keeping out all over the jump, and there she does. Not only 1-2, but takes the win with Oakingham Lyra. Alison Robitaille, first and second, 29 seconds flat. Really had to dig himself out over the last combination, did the little mare. Well, as Alison departs and gets prepped to come back in for the awards, here's a look at the final leaderboard, the top 10. Alison Robitaille, first and second. Ireland takes 3rd and 4th, Paul O'Shea and David O'Brien. Alessandra Volpe for the United States in 5th. Mimi Gotchman in 6th. Natalie Dean, 7th for the United States also. Mimi back again in 8th. Erin Ballard for Canada in 9th. And Nail Nassar in 10th. Awesome. Very solid jumping. Good way to get us started out for a week of 5-star sport here on the grass at Wesley Clover Parks. Nice track laid out by Michelle Vaillancourt. And we'll be back momentarily with the awards. After we finish with the 5-star here, we'll take a bit of a break until 3 p.m. Eastern Time, when we will be back with our next competition, which will be the 2-star effort. Faults and time. We'll see the 2-star competitors for their Grand Prix qualifier. I expect to see a slightly different approach at 3 p.m. 80 slated to see there. So, if you've got nothing else to do this afternoon, wherever you are, or in the morning, or in the evening, if you're watching from overseas, we'd love to have you come and hang out here on the outskirts of the capital city of Canada, the lovely city of Ottawa. Alison Robitaille makes her way back on to the grass field here aboard Oakingham Lyra. She came in last knowing she'd already done the job. But she was not to be deterred. Fantastic having her back in, back doing what she does best. Alison makes her way to the victory circle. President of the event, Karen Sparks, gives the championship ribbon to Alison. And a little goodie bag. Always nice to have a keepsake.
Shoulder when he points at you, and then I'll tap you to dig into.
Alison Robitaille and event president Karen Sparks taking their picture in front of the Premier Equestrian Jump. Thank you to all our sponsors here this week. Premier Equestrian supporting here with the 5-star opener. Alison Robitaille on a well-earned victory lap. There will be smiles aplenty back at Team KPF, I have no doubt. Great way to start a week of 5-star jumping. But it's only going to get bigger, tougher, and faster as the week progresses. That draws to a close the 5-star competition. And with that, I'll send it down to my commentary colleague, Mr. Stephen Wild.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Yes, good class to start us off into the 5-star. Nice 1-2 for Alison Robitaille to take us into the 5-star classes for this week. 2-star coming up as well through the afternoon, but it is a start on the 5-star trail, and that will commence further with our classes into the week with that Grand Prix qualifier tomorrow, and then sees us on Saturday into the team class as well, and the draw for that taking place tonight, and the rider skills are put to their test once again to gain their position on the grid for whether they will be going first or last. Ideally they want to go last in the starting lineup for the team competition, one of the last two stages, and championship led by the Trelawney Trailblazers so far. And then on Sunday the RBC Grand Prix as well, of course, will be our feature class into the afternoon at 1 o'clock. So good dip of the toe into the 5-star classes here this week as we're ready for the rest of the day. A little bit cooler at the moment, a little bit of breeze, but it's going to be a fabulous week ahead here in Ottawa.
We have a new